am weightless. Underneath your wind I soar.
Hello, happy to have you here. The time has come to put the garden to bed for winter, or let's call it prepping for spring, it sounds more positive. The first thing I did in August was to replant these asparagus that I sowed from seed back in spring. I did multi-sow them, which I guess was a mistake, not knowing the germination rate of the seeds, and I used the whole package. I just sprinkled them in plastic containers and I got over 100 seedlings from the 20-ish seeds that I had. They have been sitting like this since then. I don't have a permanent place for them yet, and to be honest, I thought they died this summer, but they came back and I had already given some away, and what I am looking at is the root system, which is what I am protecting and overwintering. So I transplanted them 4 to 5 in each pot this time. And I will later in this video show you how I am overwintering them until they are ready to be transplanted into their permanent place next spring. I have done quite a lot of planting this late summer, beginning of fall in preparation for next year's spring and summer. I planted a few different flower bulbs like tulips and daffodils. I really liked the look of yellow sunflowers against our red cabin this summer, so I planted yellow daffodils alongside the cabin. And we already have some other daffodils and spring bulbs here from previous owners. I dug the trench 3 times the depth of the bulbs, around 10 to 15 centimeters depending how large the bulbs are. And then I just covered it back up, and I didn't need to water it because it had been and was going to rain quite a lot, so I didn't have to do that. By this rock on our lawn, in the oasis as we call it, next to the house, I planted some other daffodils and also tulips in different color variations. Since our house is a light color, I can plant whatever colors I want here, but I chose flowers that will fit together, which I'll show you soon. And I didn't do a trench this time. I have to be careful with the grass that we sowed this summer. So I made holes instead, and I am mixing the bulbs, so I am excited for the spring to see how it turned out. Here I'm showing you the flowers that I chose for both of these rock plantings. I mixed all of these 3 in both places. So I'm at a different rock now on the other side of the lawn. I alternated them on a row for a more cleaner look to see if I like that or the wild look better. And I am planting the bulbs by rocks and by the cabin because my thought is that they are protected from cold winds and also get heated up earlier in the year because of the heat that the cabin and the rocks absorbs and then release. Apparently I missed to film when I dug this hole, but here I am filling it with some premium planting soil for the raspberry that I'm going to plant here. I found it on discount and I prefer thornless berry bushes, so that is what we'll buy next year when we decided a permanent place where we want our berries. But I planted this one by some other trees and bushes just to have some berries, hopefully, next summer. And we have wild raspberries on our lot, but they are all in the shade, so they don't produce very much and they are super tiny. So I'm excited to have our first berry planted here at the homestead. I bought these big garlic heads at the store to plant out for an early summer harvest of garlic. I chose the biggest that I could find so that the garlic heads that I harvest will be big as well. I am super excited for this. I wanted to plant garlic last year, but we didn't have any raised beds back then, and our soil in the ground is too muddy to plant garlic. I planted them in a 5 to 10 centimeters holes with 5 to 7 centimeters apart in 2 rows with 10 centimeters between. I then watered and added mulch on top. I did this after the first frost in October to prevent it from wanting to grow already if it had been warm enough, which it was in September. The frost was light with -1 degree Celsius at night. As it needs a period of cold temperatures, most varieties need 1 to 2 months of 0 to 10 degrees Celsius, even better if it's colder. I believe it's 32 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit for good bulb development. I had been looking for the blueberry varieties I want on a discount, and I finally found one of them. This is a blue crop blueberry, and as you can see, it had been sitting in this pot all summer probably, but how beautiful is the color? In front of me you can see lilacs, and next to them is a blank space. And I am actually standing on a higher level than the lilacs, and there are rocks supporting the levels. We'll add some more rocks to it next year, and along these rocks I want a mini blueberry orchard with at least 5 different varieties next to each other. This helps pollination, but also I'm a big fan of blueberries, so I want to have blueberries both fresh and in my freezer all year long. We do have regular Swedish blueberries growing wild in our forest that we pick, but it's not that much. I do like American blueberries more for snacking or to top my breakfast with, as they are sweeter. Since I already know there will be more blueberry plants added to this row, I am starting closest to the house. This spot gets more sun and also a bit more protected from the wind behind the lilacs. It also has better drainage in the soil because it's on a higher ground. In spring, I'll remove the grass and add brushwood or bark mulch, whatever you call it. But for now, I dug a hole twice the size of the pot, added some rhododendron soil around and underneath with bark humus on top. Both of these adds acidity that blueberries like and also keeps the moisture throughout the winter. And here goes my camera. Boom! Lastly, I made like a lasagna with the soil and mulch, and I really pushed it tight. The branches were a bit crooked, so I straightened them, pushing more towards one side. Sorry about the camera strap flying in the wind, but here I stick down a few sticks for support and then I watered. I really hope that you're sticking through. We're now coming to the satisfying part, clearing out the raised beds. I did mention we had a light frost. It followed by heavy rain, so these conditions combined killed everything. I really wish I had come out the day before to harvest all of the last cucumbers, zucchinis, tomatoes, etc. that didn't make it. When vegetables with high water content freezes, then thaw, they turn really weird, like a rubbery or a gummy texture. I did save a few things that I found okay to eat, a few bell peppers, tomatoes and chilies. Most of the chilies were unripe. I harvested them anyways, thinking I can use them as bell peppers roasted in the oven. We'll see. But I got a lot of chilies this year, so I'm okay with that.
Weightless, I am weightless. Underneath your wind I soar.
At first, I tried to save the twine, but then I accidentally cut one of them. I thought to myself that I'm not going to use the same twine next year anyway, after it had been wrapped around these deceased tomatoes. And I might not plant tomatoes here next year, probably not. I am thinking I should plant potatoes here, since I will be using my new garden area for tomatoes and such. And if I want to grow climbing vegetables here in the future, then I'll just tie new twine to this trellis. Here I am texting Eric, asking him to come outside with a bowl for me to collect all these chilies. There is a big birch tree next to this area, and it released so many seeds this summer, and sprouts started to pop up everywhere. In our soil, in our gravel, so here I am raking the soil lightly to release them from the soil. I planted these strawberries this spring, and I didn't get much strawberries from it, being the first year, but it produced a lot of foliage and runners, which I have been sticking into the soil, so that next year I will cut all the new runners so it can focus on growing a lot of berries. They shared this bed with lettuce, so the other half is empty, so that's where I stuck down all the runners. I am removing some weeds and cover the bed with fabric. Might transplant the strawberries to my new garden area next year, or I might keep them here as a backup. I love strawberries along with blueberries. They are my favorite, so I don't think this tiny bed will be enough for us. So I might plant more in the new garden. I wish I had caught that on a wider angle or filmed where it landed, because it flew so fast and so far I didn't even realize it at first. But I'm removing these so that the fabric gets closer to the strawberries. Alright, so now to what you all probably have been waiting for. How I am overwintering my asparagus. I did a lot of research before this and I decided on the method that was best suited for young asparagus plants still in pots. And also the easiest way, as I only do gardening because it's fun. I made a trench in my raised bed where I placed the asparagus inside their pots so I can easily dig them out next year. I placed them tightly in a row and I watered them. Then I added some bark mulch on top and the sides to keep moisture. And instead of covering them back up with the soil, I added dried leaves and then covered with a double layer fabric. I have a place for the asparagus in mind, but it's quite a project that needs to be tackled before that. We have a huge piece of land covered with brushwood that needs to be cleared, and the ground is full of rocks, so that needs to be evened out as well. And to do all this, we need to get an excavator here, which is costly. But we will need to get them out here soon anyway to remove a huge rock pile and other things, so I'm thinking of having them in that area where they will get a lot of sun. Here I am placing the cover and pressing down the edges into the soil. I hope this method works and I can't report back on it until next year, but at least I will be the test bunny for this method. Thank you for watching this video. I had a lot of fun filming and editing this. I feel so grateful for everything this garden has given me this year and for being my first year gardening here at the homestead. I feel so blessed that it turned out so well. I can't wait for spring again to see all the flowers and garlic that we planted together to pop up from the ground, to see how the asparagus are looking and to share upcoming projects, which is a lot here at the homestead, the whole new gardening area, for example, so please consider subscribing for that. And this winter I have my focus on getting the inside of the house finished along with some cooking. Anyway, I hope to see you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.